Hey y'all, so today we're going to make the tutorial on how I made my old baby mini album by Simple Stories. This is the paper collection that I'm using. Okay, and this is just the 6x8 pad, but I have other sheets and you'll see the finished product, you know, before you see this. Okay, so what you're going to need one piece, and I'm using medium weight chipboard. Okay, one piece of medium weight chipboard that is 2.5 by 10. You're going to need 2 pieces of medium weight chipboard that are 8.5 by 10. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it out like this. Okay, because this is how it's going to go. And I'm going to have about 1/4 inch spacing. Okay, I'm going to use white cardstock, and this is 12 by 12 cardstock. And what I've done is I have taken, well, I thought I did anyway. I'm going to add score tape to one side of this. So I'm just going to take my 1/4 inch score tape here. Alright, and I'm just going to one side. I thought I'd done one side, but I guess I didn't. Okay. So I'm just going to take one side here. And y'all, I want to tell you now, if I get out of frame, I do apologize. I do have a new setup in my craft room. But I think I have everything where I'm going to be in frame. But I'm going to apologize now just in case I do get out. Alright, so that's my 1/4 inch score tape. Okay, I'm just going to burnish that down. Now, I'm going to take my scoreboard. And the only reason why I'm using my scoreboard is to line up the papers. Okay, so I'm going to peel the backing off of my score tape here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up at the 6, and, well, I'm going to line it up at the 6 1/4. That way I know that my next piece, this piece right here, needs to go to the 6. Okay, so when I have it where I want it, I'm just going to drop it, press it down, burnish it. Okay, and what that does is it gives you a pretty much nice straight edge. Okay, so let me remove my scoreboard. Alright, and I do apologize for the noise. Alright, so now, what I'm going to do, I have my two 12 by 12s. I'm going to take my chipboard, and I'm going to take my centerpiece here, and I'm just going to lay it right here on this score line. So I'm just going to center it up here on the score line. Then I'm going to take my 2 pieces here, and like I said, I'm going to go about 1/4 inch. Maybe a little less than 1/4, and that's going to be my spacing. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. Alright, so I'm going to glue this down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I've added my chipboard to my cardstock, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take my stylus here, and you can use a bone folder if you want to, or you don't even have to do this step. This is just something I like to do. I like to just take the tip of my stylus and just run along the edge of my chipboard and my cardstock here. Okay, and what this is going to do is this going to help the cardstock fold over the chipboard better. And like I said, now this is just something that I do. You don't have to do this step. Alright, so now I'm just going to take and fold up my cardstock here and just bend it over. Alright, I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Okay, so I'm just going to stand this up. I'm just going to press it down. Okay, I'm just going to bend this over the top here and just work my way down. Okay, just like that. Alright, now I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, now that's going to give me 4 little squares or rectangles on each side. So now what I want to do is I want to cut those off. So I'm just going to take my scissors here and I'm going to cut it at an angle. Alright. And when you do this part, make sure that you don't cut all the way to the chipboard. You want to leave a little space. Uh-oh, now I'm not going to be in camera here. Alright. You want to leave a little space so whenever you wrap your album, you're not going to see that chipboard edge there. Okay, so I have just a little bit of cardstock there. Okay, so I'm going to cut all 4 of my corners off, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have everything adhered down, I went ahead and cut all my corners here, all of my sides, and I went ahead and added my score tape. Okay, I want to tell you, I added score tape along the edge of all of my chipboard as well as on my cardstock here. Okay, and I did add a few extra pieces on the inside here of the book binding, or the book here. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to peel the backing off of all of the score tape. Okay, and then I'll give you the measurements for the cardstock that goes on the inside. Okay, so now that I have all of my score tape off, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my art glitter glue here. Alright, and I'm just going to go along the edge of my chipboard and cardstock up here. Okay, so I'm just going to run a bead of glue along the edge up here. Okay, then I'm going to turn it sideways here so I can work with it. Alright, but I'm just going to press that cardstock up against that chipboard. And I like to use my bone folder to do this. Alright, so now I'm just going to pull this down. I'm going to spread out my fingers here. Okay, and I'm just going to pull this down. I'm going to try to start in the middle and work my way out. Okay, and this being such a large album here, it's, you know, kind of difficult to get it all in frame. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing here on the bottom where I'm going to turn it around. Alright, so now I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to run a bead of glue. I forgot to go up the edge and all in the center of the other one. Alright. I'm going to press that cardstock up against that chipboard. Okay, now I'm just going to pull it down. Alright, I'm just going to press and burnish. Okay. Alright, that one didn't really work too well, but that's okay. Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing here on the sides. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder and just press in those edges. Okay, I'm going to turn it around, press in these edges. Alright, I made a little boo-boo here on my paper. I didn't get it to bend all the way over, but it's okay. Alright, I'm going to take my glue, run a bead of glue all the way around here, along that score tape, all in the center. Okay, press that cardstock up against that chipboard, lay it down. Alright, and you may have glue come out, that's no big deal. Alright, I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to do this side same way, add a bead of glue all the way around, right on top of that score tape, all in the center. Okay, take my bone folder, press that cardstock up against that chipboard, lay it down. Okay, now this is what we have. Alright, so the outside of our album is wrapped. Now we want to wrap the inside. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken a piece, 2 pieces of cardstock, one piece that is 7 3/4 by 8 1/2. Your 7 3/4 is up at the top. Then I have an 8 1/2 by 11. Okay, I've added score tape to one side of my 7 3/4 by 8 1/2. Okay, so this is the 8 1/2 inch side here. Alright, so I'm just going to peel the backing off. Same thing as what I done before. I'm just going to take my scoreboard. Alright, I'm going to place it at the 6 1/4. That way I know this piece here needs to go to the 6. Okay. You have it where you want it. Lay it down. Burnish it. That gives you a nice clean edge. A nice straight edge. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add score tape. Here, let me use my ATG gun. I'm going to use my ATG tape. Alright, and I'm going to go all over this piece here. Okay, along the sides. Well, today is not one to work out here. Alright. Now, I'm just going to run that tape all the way around. Okay, and while I'm doing this, y'all, I want to let everybody know that I had, I mentioned this a while ago, but I have a new camera set up now. My whole room, I've redone my whole room. But I want y'all to let me know how the lighting is, how the sound is. Let me know if there's anything that I need to change. Because this is my actual real first tutorial with my room completely done. I done a folio tutorial, but my room was not completely done then. And my camera setup was different then as well. So now I have everything the way that I want it and the way that it's going to be. But I need to know, how my lighting is and how my setup is here. What do y'all think about it? Do I need to change things, or is everything okay? Alright, now I have my score tape or my ATG tape all along this piece. See how that's shining? Okay, now I need to adhere it here. And you see here I've already got some tape here as well. So I'm just going to take my art glitter glue and I'm going to go right on top of that tape. And I'm going all over this piece here. Okay, all in the middle. You want a good amount of glue here because this is gonna, you want all of this to adhere down. You don't want any bubbles or anything like that. Alright, now I'm gonna take my time here. I'm gonna flip this over and I'm gonna place it down. Okay, I'm gonna center it up as best as possible. Alright, when I have it where I want it, I'm just gonna lay it down. And press, press, press. Okay. I also have a new bone folder here. This is by We Are Memory Keepers. And this is a large one. I'm not actually sure what this is called. If it's just called a scraper or what it's called. Okay. But now, and I also have a new Teflon bone folder. Alright, and I want to tell y'all the difference too here. Okay, I actually have 4 different bone folders. Okay, and the Teflon bone folder, it is a little heavier, but it does not leave any kind of shiny marks on your paper, whether it's the white paper, the black paper, any kind of paper. The Teflon bone folder does not leave any kind of marks at all on your paper. These, they seem to, each one of them seem to leave, a different mark than this one. This bone folder is a really, really good bone folder. I just haven't got used to it yet. And I kind of like my EK Tools bone folder. I'm kind of attached to it. So, I'm just going to use this one. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take and I'm going to burnish. Okay, and I've got my left hand underneath this left hand side of my album. Okay, so I'm just going to burnish and bend little by little. Okay, when you find that crease, just work it. Okay, just bend and press. Alright, and you don't want to go jerking on it. Take your time when you do it. Alright, I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, now I have my hand under here. I'm just going to work that glue and that paper. When you find that crease, just work your crease and go back and forth. Okay, and I added that extra score tape, and you see here I don't have any bubbles. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick that up or not, But you see, I don't have any bubbles or bubbling here along my cardstock, and that's what you want. You don't want any kind of bubbles. I call them bubbles. But any bulking, bubbles, anything like that. Alright, so now we have our album cover covered. Okay, so now we have a front, middle, back. We have it all done. Okay, so now you decide on what you want for the front and the back. Look at that, y'all. That just makes me mad how I messed it up there. So when you do yours, take your time. And I may be able to work that out. I'm not sure. I'm not going to stress about it because, as you know, anything homemade or handmade is not perfect. If you're a crafter or if you're a beginner, don't stress about it. Y'all, please, please don't stress about the mistakes. Because a lot of times your mistakes turn out to be happy mistakes. Alright, so now what I want to do now is I'm going to work on the inside of the front and the back. So, and I'm going to make them the same. The front and the back are going to be the same here. Alright, I think that made it a little brighter. Okay, so I'm going to work on the left hand side first. Okay, so what I need to do, I have everything cut, but oh lordy, I done lost my paper. Hold on just a second, y'all. Okay, what you're going to need now, you're going to need two pieces. Alright, I have two pieces that are 8.5 by 10. Okay, you're going to score both of them. Alright, you're going to do the same thing to both of them. You're going to score at 1/2 and at 1 1/4. Alright, so you're 8.5 inches at the top. You're going to score at 1/2 and 1 1/4. Okay, you're going to do that to both of them. And I did use my decorative punch here. I used the Martha Stewart punch. And I only punched out one of them. Okay, the one that I punched out is going to be the one on top. So, what I'm going to do, alright, you're going to fold down and burnish each of your score marks here. Okay, so this is what you're going to have. Alright, I hope you can see that. Alright, so we're going to add glue to this 1/2 inch piece here, okay? So I'm going to take my art glitter glue. I'm just going to add glue to this 1/2 inch piece now. And one other thing I want to tell y'all is now whenever I film or whenever I craft, I stand up. So this is a whole lot different for me. So if I seem kind of out of it or not, you know, like my normal self, it's because I'm getting used to this. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this down. Alright, and I'm going to take it. I'm not going to go to the edge here of my binding or my book. So make sure that you don't go over the edge there. Okay, so I'm just going to take it. I'm going to lay it down. Alright, I'm going to go pretty close to the binding or to the edge there, but not all the way. Okay, and you want to make sure this is straight before you press it down. Alright, when you have it where you want it, press down and burnish. Okay, I'm going to open it up, burnish it again. Okay, that's going to give us a 3/4 of an inch flap here, or I don't know what you want to call this thing. My mind's going blank. But, alright, now we want to do the same thing with our punched edge on the right hand side. Okay, you want to leave yourself some room here. If you're going to add a closure, if you're going to use like a metal closure or something like that, and you need to punch the hole or whatever, make sure that you leave enough room when you add this. I'm going to add a seam binding, well, actually a lace closure. This is what I'm going to use as my closure. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so I'm just going to take and fold down on my score lines, fold and burnish. And again, this is 8.5 by 10. I scored at 1/2 and 1 1/4. Okay, so I'm just going to add glue to my little 1/2 inch piece here. Alright, all in the center. And you want to get it pretty close to the edge, your glue. Alright, now, I'm going to take, move this over. Okay, and I'm going to go probably about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. Okay, and you can measure it or you can eyeball it. Y'all know I like to eyeball my stuff. Alright, and you have it where you want it. Press it down. And burnish. And if it's not, you know, 100% the same, don't worry about it. Okay, now, this is what I have. Alright, and like I said, I want my decorative side to be my top flap. Alright, so now this is what I have. Okay. So now what I want to do is I need to cut a piece of decorative paper to add here. Alright, so you want to add your decorative paper before we go any further. Alright, I'm going to cut mine and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I've added my design paper here, now I'm going to add a pocket. Okay, my pocket is going to be 7 by 9.5. Alright, on your 9.5 inch side, hold on, let me mark all this down. 7 by 9.5. Okay, it's going to be 7 by 9.5. Alright, on your 9.5 inch side, you're going to score it 1/2, 1, 1.5, rotate, score again, 1/2, 1, 1.5, rotate, score it 1/2, 1, and 1.5. Okay, now what you're going to do, alright, we're going to cut off these little X's here. Let me find my scissors. Okay, so we're going to leave just 2 little X's, or 2 little squares, and we're going to cut off the rest. So I'm going to cut off the 3 at the bottom, and then the 2 along the sides here. Okay, and I'm trying to make sure I get this right. Alright, so I'm just going to cut up here. Alright, and then I'm going to cut across here. Alright, so we cut those 3 off at the bottom. I'm just going to cut right along here and cut these 4 little squares off. Okay, so now this is what you have. Okay, now what you want to do is I'm going to turn mine, alright, because you want it to look like this. We're just going to take it and cut right up in the middle here, right to that next score line there. Okay, I hope that's making sense. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it back. I'm going to stick my scissors back behind here and cut up that score line. Okay, well, now this is what you have. Okay, you have a little flap here. Alright, and then you have this little flap here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this side. Alright, we're going to cut off this bottom row of squares. Okay, now we're going to cut off these 4 squares. Okay, so now this is what you have. Alright, again, we're going to turn it. We're going to cut right here. And we're going to turn it back. Stick our scissors up in there, however way you want to do them. Alright, so then these 2 little flaps here, these 2 little, I guess we're just going to call them flaps. Alright, they'll flip up. These 2 will flip to your sides. Alright, so you got up and down, and these 2 will go to your sides. I hope that's making sense, y'all. This is the first time I've done a pocket like this. Alright, now I'm just going to fold and burnish each of my score lines. Okay, and you're going to fold them all the same way. Okay, now we're not doing like an expandable pocket. We're going to fold them all the same direction. Okay, and again, I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm not making any sense. But you'll see it all come together. Alright, now I'm going to do the bottom one here. Okay, now what I want to do is I want the glue this first 1/2 inch flap, I want to glue it to this middle 1/2 inch flap. Okay, so I'm just going to take my art glitter glue. I'm just going to add some glue right here to this first little flap here, the flap that's on the edge. Alright, I'm just going to fold it in to that middle flap. Okay, I'm just going to burnish that down. Alright, and the reason why I've done that is that way, you know, it's a little bit stronger. Okay, so I'm going to do that to each one of them. Alright, I'm just going to add glue to this edge flap here. Alright, I'm going to fold it into the middle section. Burnish it down. Alright, turn. I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. Alright, so now this is what we have. Okay, so now whenever we fold this, alright, it's going to look like this. Okay, so now we just need to put it together. Alright, so I want to do my, make sure I do this part right here. And y'all, I apologize for not having this exactly perfect or whatever. Okay, yep. Alright, so I'm going to take my bottom flap here. And you know what? Well, yeah. Alright, so you see that little piece there? We're going to add some glue to this bottom one. Alright, I'm going to fold it up. And I want it to glue to this middle piece here. Okay. And I'm just kind of working it, or looking at it rather, and hoping that I got it on there. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, I'm going to take, see this bottom? Alright. Dadgummit, I forgot to punch it out. Alright, if you're going to use a decorative punch, use your decorative punch before you go folding up. Maybe I got time. Let me punch this out real quick, y'all. Alright, so now I have it punched out. Okay, so now I'm going to take, and y'all, you can probably do this a better way. I mean, we probably don't even need this little flap here. But I'm just going to add some glue here. And I'm going to take it right here to this center one. I'm just going to fold it up just like we're making a box, really. Okay. And again, y'all, there's probably an easier way to do this. I'm just taking my bone folder and just pressing that cardstock together there. Alright, now I'm going to take these two little flaps and glue them to the bottom. And I wanted to make this pocket, you know, pretty strong, and that's why I done all this extra little tab there and the extra folding. Alright, so I'm just going to press those down on the bottom here. Alright, now I'm going to take these two flaps that we have left, and I'm only going to tack it down here at the bottom. Okay. Alright, I'm going to take my clothespins to hold those. Alright, so this is what you have. We have like a little box pocket. I don't really know the name or, you know, the exact term for this pocket, but it's like a box. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry, and then we're going to glue it in here. Okay, so now that my little pocket has dried, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some art glitter glue. I'm going to add it to each one of my flaps here. Okay. And you want to go pretty close to the edge and all in the center. Of each one of your little flaps, of your little 1/2 inch flaps here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to center mine up. Alright, I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to center it up. Okay. I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom. Well, maybe I will. Alright, I'm going all the way to the bottom. And I just kind of centered mine up here. Alright, I'm going to turn it so I can get my bone folder down in there. Or you can take a ruler and just kind of press it together, or press it down. Let me see here, I'm going to lift this up so I can press it down there at the bottom. Okay. Can't find my Tim Holtz ruler. I was going to press it with that. Alright, so now we have our pocket and we have 2 large flaps. Okay, so now this is what it looks like. You see that pocket down in there? So that's why I made these wider here. Instead of 1/2 inch, I made them 3/4 inch. Okay, so now we're going to make a booklet for this. And what I've done is I just took, and this is as simple as you're going to get right here now. Alright, I just took the paper pad, these 6x8 papers here. Okay, so you're going to get, let's see how many come in here, 24. Alright, I took 12 out, so that left me 12 in here. And I'll use those, you know, in the album. But what I've done is I've taken 6 for the front and 6 for the back. But I've also added just plain white cardstock in between each one. Okay, so you have design paper, plain cardstock, 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 design paper. Okay, so you have 6 design papers and 5 plain cardstock. And I just poked little holes in it and tied it with little seam binding here. You can use your cinch if you have a cinch, and you can make this, you know, like a little book. You can use the little ring binder clips. You can use those, or you can use seam binding, or you can use, you know, whatever type of ribbon you want to use. You can do that. But I just wanted to make it pretty simple. And you see here, you know, with the seam binding, it still opens up all the way. Okay? And I'm going to show you. Alright, what I done is I just took a template and then I just punched out my holes. And so I held it, I kept it held together with my clothespins here. Alright, and I used my hole punch. I used the 3/16 side. I'm not sure if you can see that. 3/16 right here. And I went down to 1/2 inch. Okay, so then I'm just going to go up in here, punch it out, and then I'm going to do this side here, and move my clothespin over. Alright, hold on, that one didn't want to do too well. Okay, so that just gives you a nice little punch there. And then I just took my seam binding, just run through my holes and tied them together. Alright, that gives us our little booklet. And y'all, for your booklet, you can do this. You can add however many pages you want to. I wanted to see how much cardstock or how much design paper I would have left before, you know, I add like photo mats or make another little booklet to add in here. But this is what I wanted to add here. Okay, and you see here, you have plenty of space here. See, you have plenty of space to add more photos or little keepsakes or more photo mats. Alright, so this is going to be the center of our front and our back, because I'm going to do the back the same exact way as what I'm doing the front. Alright, but I'm going to do the back part off camera. So whatever you do for the front, we're going to do for the back. Okay, so now we're going to work on these two flaps here. Alright, so I'm going to close this one up. I want this one to be my top because it is the punched edged. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a piece of design paper. Okay, so I want to add my design paper down here first. And you know what? I probably should have done this before I added this pocket. But that's alright because I'm going to lay it out flat. So just let me make some room here. Okay. I'm just going to take this little booklet out. I'm just going to flip my album over. Sorry, I bumped the camera there. Okay. Now, I'm going to work on here. And you see, this is just the front side of our page here. I just got mine opened up here. Alright, so I've already got my design paper cut. Okay, I'm going to add my design paper. And then we're going to make a waterfall. Okay, y'all, to make things easier, don't add this pocket in yet. Okay, add this pocket after you do your first two flaps. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start here on the back. Okay, so I've already added my two flaps. I've already added my design paper. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the flap that has the decorative punch here. Okay, so whatever flap you want on top, whether it's the right flap or the left flap, in my case, it's the right flap. Alright, so I'm just going to open up this left flap. I'm going to lay the right one down. Okay, now, I've already cut my design paper to go here. And I'm going to tell y'all, I do not give measurements for design paper because you may not have the same punch that I have. Your paper may not be cut exactly the same as mine. I don't ever give design paper measurements, and that's why. Because, you know, our papers may be, you know, a little bit off here and there. But I'm going to tell you now, go ahead and add your design paper. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to glue down two sides and the bottom. Alright, because I'm going to make this a pocket. Okay, so I'm going to have it on here. And I'm going to have a pocket here. Okay, so I need to glue the two sides and the bottom. Alright, and if you don't want this pocket, then you can just add glue all over. Okay, but I'm going to make mine a pocket. Okay, so I'm just adding glue to three sides. Alright, and I want the opening to be here on my punched outside. Alright, so I'm just going to take my time and glue this down here. And make sure everything is where I want it before I press it down. Alright, when you have it where you want it, press it down. Take your bone folder and burnish that glue down. Okay, and I'm going to open it up and press here. That way I know I've got that glue good and flat there. Alright, so now we have our little pocket here. Okay, alright, now what I'm going to do here on top of this is I'm going to add a waterfall. Alright, and you're going to need, let's see here, how many do I have? 7 pieces for this side and then 7 pieces for this side. So you're going to need 14 total. Alright, 7 for the back and 7 for the front. That are 4.5 by 6. Okay, on your 4.5 inch side you're going to score it a half. And I've already punched mine out here. You see I've used a decorative punch. And the punch that I used is the We Are Memory Keepers, and I used the stub side. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're just going to take and fold down and burnish each of your score lines. Alright, then if you want to, you go ahead and punch out your corners here. If you don't have a punch, don't worry about it. You know, they're fine straight. Alright, and Let me see here. I've already folded these, so I'll use these. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down about 1/4 of an inch. All right, let me show you, because I'm going to have about 1/4 of an inch on the right and the left hand side. See, I have space here and space here. So I don't want to go all the way to the top. You can go all the way to the top if you want to. I'm not going to. Okay, I am going to leave about 1/4 of an inch space here at the top and on each side. Alright, so I'm just going to take my glue, add it to my little 1/2 inch flap here. Okay, I'm going to pull this down so I can see it. Alright, and I'm just eyeballing mine now. If you want to measure, you go right ahead, but I am eyeballing mine. Alright, when you have it where you want it, press it down. Okay, now I'm going to take my next flap. Okay, it's already folded and burnished. I'm going to add my glue. Okay, now I'm just going to butt it up against this one here. Okay, so I'm just going to take it, butt it up against that one. Before you press it all the way down, close it to make sure that it's straight. Okay, when you have it where you want it, press it down and burnish. Okay, now I'm going to continue adding, and when I get to the last one, I'm going to show you. And because the last one I don't butt up against like this, I actually glue it on top. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. But I'm going to continue to add, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I'm at my last flap, okay, I've already folded and burnished it here. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, instead of adding glue to the top like we've done the rest of them, I'm going to add glue to the underneath side here. Okay. And make sure that you don't add your glue all the way to that score line. Alright, so now you have your glue here. So we want to glue this right on top of this flap here. Not underneath it, but right on top. Alright, I'm going to move mine over so I can see. Alright, and you want to go as close as you can to that score line. Alright, fold it up, or fold it down to make sure that you have it lined up. Okay, when you have it where you want it, press it down, take your bone folder and burnish it down there. Alright, now I'm just going to hold it and fold it up and burnish. Okay, and what that does is it gives you a nice clean edge there. That way you have space here to add a photo. Alright, we're going to add a pocket here. Okay, so let me see what I done with my pocket. Give me just a second, because I done lost my pocket. Okay, for our pocket here, what you're going to need is a piece that is 3 1/4 by 7 1/2. On your 7 1/2 inch side, you're going to score it 1/2. Okay, rotate 1/2, rotate 1/2. Alright, so your 7 1/2 inch here, score it 1/2, rotate, score it 1/2, rotate, score it 1/2. Alright, if you're going to use a punch, go ahead and use a punch. I did use a decorative punch for mine. Now I'm going to fold down and burnish each of my score lines. Okay, now I'm going to take my scissors and just cut off these little squares here at the bottom. Okay, and I'm also going to just angle this and cut this off here on the side. Okay. Now, this is what I have. Alright, so I'm just going to tack down my sides here. And this is just a step that I like to do. I just like to tack it down before I glue it into the album. Okay. Now I'm going to take my book and I'm going to go all the way to the bottom and to my sides here. Alright, so I'm just going to add my glue on each of these little 1/2 inch pieces here. Okay. Now I'm going right on top of that design paper. Okay. So I'm all the way at the bottom and all the way at the sides of my design paper. Okay. I'm just going to burnish this down really good. Alright, so now I have a pocket. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a photo mat or maybe a booklet to add here. And that's going to hold down my waterfall closure. If you want to, you can add a ribbon closure. You can add a magnet closure. You can add a flap here with magnets. You know, you can make any kind of closure you want to. But the closure I'm going to make is I'm going to put a photo mat or something here. Alright, so now I'm going to open this up. And now we're going to work on the inside here. Alright, so for the inside, I'm going to make, let's see, flaps here. 3 flaps. Alright, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 4 3/4 by 7. Alright, you're going to need 2 of those. On your 7-inch side, you're going to score it a 1/2. So let's fold down and burnish each of those. Okay. Now I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to add these 2 flaps to the, let's see here, how do I want them? Alright, I think I'm going to place them both on the right hand side here. Alright, so I'm going to place my 2 flaps on the right hand side. You can place yours on the left if you want to, however you want to do it. Alright, but I'm placing mine on the right. So I'm just going to take and add my glue to my little 1/2 inch piece here. Alright, and I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to place it here so I know about where I want this one to go. Alright, I am going to go down. I'm not going all the way to the top, so this one would not go all the way to the bottom. Alright, I'm going to go about, I'm going to say 1/4 inch from the bottom. Alright, maybe, yeah, about 1/4. And what I'm checking here is I want to make sure I don't go over this score line. Okay. So I want to make sure I'm not going over that score line. And I'm just going to burnish it down, open it up, burnish it down. Alright, now I'm going to add my glue to this one. Okay. And again, I'm not going all the way to the top. Okay. So I'm just lining it up with this one. Now I have it where I want it. I'm just going to burnish it down. Okay, I'm going to open it up, press it down. Alright, so now I have 2 flaps that go to the right. Okay, now I need a flap that goes to the left. So this one is going to be 4 1/2 by 7. On your 7-inch side, you're going to score it a 1/2, fold down, burnish. Alright, add your glue. Okay, now this part here can get a little tricky. Alright, so I'm just going to close these up. And I'm just going to take my hands and put my hand under. And I'm going to take this and hook it on like this. Okay, so my glue is on this side. Alright, but I'm just going to eyeball mine here. And again, y'all, you can measure. Okay, so it may not be exactly to the center of it, but it's going to be pretty close. Alright, and I'm going pretty close to that score line there, but not all the way on it. Alright, now I'm just going to burnish that down. Okay, and if you want to, y'all, you can use a corner punch, you can use a decorative punch, whatever you want to use here. And now this is what you have. Alright, we have a flap to the right and 2 flaps to the left. We have a flap to the left and 2 flaps to the right. Alright, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Okay. And if you want to, you can use a magnet here. And I probably am going to use a magnet, so I'm going to add magnets here and let them catch on this side. Okay, so that's all for this flap. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the left flap that I did not use a decorative punch on. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to open this one up, and that way I can work on this flap. Alright? Alright, now for this flap here that I did not use my decorative punch on, alright, what I'm going to make here is I'm going to make pockets. Okay, so my first pocket is going to be 7.5 by 8.25. Alright, on your 8.25 inch side, you're going to score it a half, rotate, score it a half, rotate, score it a half. Alright, fold down and burnish each of your score lines. Okay, I've already done mine, and I have already cut my little squares out here at the bottom. Okay, now I did right here so I wouldn't forget. Alright, I'm going to punch this out. So let me move this over, and I'm just going to use my Martha Stewart punch here. Okay. And if you want to, you can fast forward this part. Or hang on just a second. And if the camera is shaking, I do apologize. I think it is. Okay. So now I'm just going to add glue. I'm going to tack down these two little sides here. Alright. Just going to hold that for a second. Now I'm going to add glue to my little 1/2 inch pieces here. And I forgot to cut the tops right here off, but that's okay. Okay. Now I'm just going to take it. I'm going all the way to the bottom. All the way to the right. Okay. I'm just going to press that down and burnish. Okay. So now we have our first pocket in. Alright, now I'm going to add another pocket here. So I need that pocket to be 4.5 by 8.25. On your 8.25 inch side, you're going to score it a half, rotate, score it a half, rotate, score it a half. Punch out your two little squares here. Fold and burnish. Okay, and again, I'm going to use a decorative punch. And y'all, if you don't have a decorative punch, don't worry about it. It can be, you know, you can keep it straight and it's going to be just as nice, I promise. You know, don't think you got to run out and buy everything that I'm using, you know, just to make it cute. Because I promise you, it will be pretty even if you do, you know, just leave a flat edge there. Just a straight edge. Alright, but I'm going to tack down my corners. Okay, I'm going to add my glue to the three little 1/2 inch pieces here. Okay, I'm going to take it and add right on top of the pocket we just put in. Okay, so all the way to the bottom and right on top of that pocket. And I'm going to burnish that down. Now we have two pockets. Pocket here, pocket here. Okay? So now I'm going to open this up. Alright, and this is going to be kind of hard because, like I said, I've already added that pocket. So make sure, y'all, you don't add this pocket until after you've done decorating and adding everything to your two flaps. After you've, you know, added your pockets and your flaps and everything, go ahead and add your design paper. Add this pocket right here last. Let that be the very, very last thing that you do. Alright, because now I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. Here we go. Maybe this will work. Alright, I'm going to make it work. Okay, so now I'm going to have, let's see, what am I doing here? Alright, I'm going to make a larger pocket here. So you need a piece that is 8 1/4 by 9 1/4. On your 8 1/4 inch side, you're going to score it a half, rotate, score it a half, rotate, score it a half. Alright, let's fold down and burnish each of our score lines. Okay. Let's cut off these two little squares at the bottom. Okay. And again, I'm going to use a decorative punch. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And y'all, whenever I punch mine, you see here, I just kind of eyeball it and just start in the center. And then go from there. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to tack down these two little flaps here. Okay. I'm just going to burnish that down. Okay, now I'm going to add glue to each of these flaps. And you see here, I laid it down this time instead of holding it in my hand. It's better, you know, if you can lay it down flat. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go all the way to the bottom. Alright, and I'm going all the way to the left here. Okay. Now I'm going to press and burnish. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to add two flaps to this one. Okay, so you're going to need two pieces that are 6 3/4 by 7 3/4. On your 7 3/4 side, you're going to score it a half. Alright, so we're going to fold down and burnish. And I am going to use a decorative punch. So I've already done it to one of them. Let me do it to this one real quick. Y'all, I apologize so much for shaking that camera. And for not having everything already ready. But I know some of y'all like for me to show each and everything. So this video is for y'all. Okay, here. Okay, so now I'm just going to, alright, now I'm just going to add glue to my little 1/2 inch flap here. Okay, I'm not going all the way to the bottom and I'm not going up here to the top. I'm going to center it up, or you know, just kind of eyeball center it. to where I want it. I'm going to place this flap all the way to the left. Okay, burnish it down. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to place this flap all the way to the right. Alright, so same thing, 6 3/4 by 7 3/4 on your 7 3/4 side. Here, you're going to score it a half, fold down and burnish. Use your decorative punch if you have a decorative punch, or you can use your corner rounders, or you can leave it straight. Alright, add your glue to your little 1/2 inch piece here. Okay, I'm going to go to the right hand side here. Alright, but I need to, you know, kind of keep it straight here. So I'm just going to lay this on top of here. Alrighty. You have it where you want it. Press it down. Open that up. Press it down. Alright. So now we have our 2 flaps here. Okay, and you can make either one the top, because, you know, if you do it like mine, you're going to use a decorative punch on both of them. Or you can use just a decorative punch on one of them, however you want to do it. Alright, but now let me open my book back up here. Alright, so now this is what we have. And remember, the front and the back are going to be the same. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like on the front and the back. Okay, so you're going to have your waterfall flaps. You're going to have your pocket here. Alright, this is going to open up. You're going to have your flap to the left, 2 flaps to the right, large space here. Okay, and then here you're going to have 2 pockets. It's going to open up. You're going to have your flap to the left, flap to the right, large space here with a pocket. And then for your center here, you're going to have this pocket with your little booklet and photo mats and whatever else you want to have there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add just a couple of pages here. Alright, but let me show y'all. If you don't want to add those couple of pages, you can leave it like this. Like, I mean, just like that. You know, because once you add your photos, and once you add this side here, just like this, you know, it's going to kind of bulk up your album a little bit. So, this is what it's going to look like. So, you're still going to have plenty of space here. Alright, so if you want to add the pages, you know, keep watching. If you don't want to add the pages, then don't worry about anything else. You know, you can go ahead and decorate and do whatever you want to. But now I'm going to make a binding here, and then we'll add our pages. Okay, y'all. So now to work on the binding here. This is going to be, you know, pretty straightforward and pretty simple. Alright, you need a piece that is 2 by 9 7/8. Okay, and your 9 7/8 is going to be right here in between the 9 3/4 and the 10. Okay, so you need a piece that is 2 by 9 7/8. Alright, you're going to take it and score it at a half, rotate around, score it a half. Alright, I've already added score tape to mine, so I'm going to peel that off. And then I'm not going to bend up my score marks yet. I'm going to wait and do that once I've placed it in the album, because I've found it easier to wait, you know, because you can lay it down and kind of center it up a lot better than you can when your things are folded. Alright, so I'm just going to take my art glitter glue along with this score tape here, because I want my binding to be really secure. So I'm just going to go right over top of that score tape and make sure that you don't go over those score lines. Okay. I left a piece of paper here, a piece of backing. Alright, so now I'm going to have 1/4 of an inch on the left and 1/4 of an inch on the right. Okay, I'm just going to eyeball mine. You can measure yours if you want to, but like I said, I'm just going to eyeball mine. And I'm just going to center it up here as best as I can. Alright, and before I press it down, I am going to kind of give it a little bit of a measurement, because I do want it to be, you know, as pretty straight as I can get it, and that looks good to me. So I'm just going to press that down. Alright, you want to burnish that down really, really good now. Okay, so now I'm going to bend up my little score lines, my little flaps here. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to take my bone folder, just flatten them out. And there we go. Alright, so that's our binding. Alright, and I want to show y'all too. Okay, when you close this up, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so your binding is right in between your two pages here. Okay, but look, you're not going to have much space here because you have those waterfall flaps. So I'm going to keep my pages very, very simple. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add belly bands to each page. Alright, so I'm just going to move this over. Okay, now you're going to need to make your pages, your page bases, you're going to need a piece that is 8 by 10 and a piece that is 8 by 11. Alright, on your 11-inch side, you're going to score it a half, rotate around, score it a half. Alright, we're going to fold down and burnish. Alright, I'm going to burnish both of my score lines here. I'm just going to take glue, add to my little 1/2 inch flap. Alright, and all in the center there. Okay, now I'm just going to take my 8 by 10 piece and lay it right on top. Alright, and you want to try to get this as straight as possible. So take your time when you're doing this. When you have it where you want it, press down and burnish. Alright, you may have glue come out, no big deal, just wipe it off. Alright, I'm going to open this up, press it down there. Okay, now I'm just going to add glue to this 1/2 inch flap. All in the center. Okay, now I'm just going to lay this down. Press it down. Alright, there you go. This is our pages, our page base, but this is all I'm going to do here. Alright, so what you have is a tunnel here. Okay, and I've already done my other one, so I have 2 of them. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my design paper, and I haven't cut mine out already because I haven't decided on what I want to use. Alright, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to add my design paper, and then I've cut 1 by 8 inch strips, and I used decorative punch here, and this is also by Martha Stewart. It is called Dolly Lace Trim. Okay, and that's all I've done. This is 1 by 8. I'm going to add my design paper. I'm going to add my belly band on here. Alright, and that's all I'm going to do to both of these pages, to the front and the back. Alright, I'm just going to add the belly bands. That way, you know, if you want to, you can add a 4 by 6 photo here and here, or you can add a larger photo on a photo mat and in the belly band, you know, or you can add just individual little photos, you know, just pretty much whatever you want to. And being pregnant and having a newborn, you're going to have lots and lots of photos. So I wanted to leave these, you know, pretty simple and pretty plain, just in case, you know, you want to make like a collage, you know, on each of your pages on the front and the back. You know, say one page, you know, is where you're pregnant, maybe your baby shower, your pregnancy photo shoot, and, you know, then you want to have photos of where you've given birth. You know, things like that. But I just wanted to leave them pretty simple so you could, you know, kind of personalize the album and make it your own. Alright, so now I'm just going to open my album up here. Okay, and I need to add some score tape to both sides of my binding here. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is once I add my score tape, I'm going to add score tape and glue, and then I'll just place my pages on just like this. Alright, so what you do is you just open up your tunnel and slide it into that little binding piece there. Alright, when you do this, you want to make sure that your pages are straight before you press down. Okay, so once you have them straight, then you press them down. Then you're going to do the next one. Same thing, you just open up your tunnel, slide it right over top of that 1/2 inch strip there. Alright, and again, make sure that it is straight with your first page. And there you go. That's all you're going to do here. Alright, so this is your album. It is very, very easy. It is very, very large. I don't want to say it's like too large, because with pregnancy and newborns, you know, you want a large size album. And this album is perfect to sit on a coffee table, to sit, you know, wherever you are and you want to show off those beautiful photos. But you see here, you have lots of space for photos. You'll have photo mats here that's going to hold down your waterfall. But like I said, you're more than welcome. You can add a closure here if you want to. Alright, and then both pages, and you see I've already added my magnets and my closure. You know, I wanted to go ahead and add my closure here before I forgot, because a lot of times I forget to add a closure. So I went ahead and added my ribbon here. Alright, and I went ahead and added my magnets. So this will be held with magnets. Alright, and then this little flap here is held with magnets, which you'll open up here, and then you'll have a large space here. And another thing I want to tell you, if you want to add a pocket here, you're more than welcome to. You know, these are just kind of ideas that I kind of do whenever I make an album, but you're more than welcome to change it up. Add a pocket, add a belly band, take a pocket away. Like this pocket here, you know, if you don't like this pocket, take it away and then make just a flat pocket. Whatever y'all want to do, okay? But here, I've added my magnet here. So this is the finished album. And I hope you all enjoy this tutorial. And like I said earlier, please let me know about the lighting and my voice. Am I too loud? Am I not loud enough? And I want to thank everybody so much for watching. And this is a Country Craft Creations design team project. And I will leave the paper collection that I've used and all of that in the description bar below. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.